last night I saw Heretic or Heretic. This is the new A24 film starring, I wanted to say Hugh Jackman. It's not. Everything stars Hugh Jackman. Starring Hugh Grant and two young actresses, Sophie Thatcher and Chloe East, and in a tiny role that I did not recognize him at all in, Topher Grace. That was the big revelation of this film. Film had a shocking ending, and then the credits roll. Very small cast in this film, and Topher Grace, and I was like, what? Anyway, that might be the most shocking thing in the film, depending on your mileage. So this is a new A24 horror film. That doesn't mean anything to you. I won't explain it too much, but A24 is this indie, I'm going to explain it anyway. A24 is this indie studio that tends to do what they call elevated horror. Some might call it pretentious horror, some call it elevated horror, some call it very creative horror. Overall, I like the A24 output, but at the same time, I do know when things from A24 are being a bit A24. And this movie was really good. This is really interesting. I really wish the conundrum here with anything that I talk about is I really don't want to tell you much of what the movie's about because every movie is based on surprises and not knowing what those surprises are going to be. And I was talking to people about this movie before it came out. I was in the presence of the trailer once, and usually I'll watch a trailer. I love trailers, but I hate trailers. I was watching the trailer and I was like, and I've seen enough. And I think I maybe quite literally did this and hummed quietly to myself so that I wouldn't hear and see more about what's going to unfold in this film. The problem is it's so hard for people to want to spend money on a film not knowing what it's about. I really wish we could move back into the world of teaser trailers where you just saw like the It's Alive TV spot, incredibly effective, maybe made you want to go to the movie, but a lot of people kind of want to know more about what it is. So I'm going to tell you the tiniest amount of what this movie is about and let you know that it's about a lot more than that. Film opens, I'm not going to tell you the whole story. Film opens with two young Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the Mormons. Two Mormon missionaries making the rounds, trying to talk to people, trying to spread the word, trying to engage in conversation. Two very nice young ladies, one who's just wide-eyed and full of joy and excitement about the mission they're on, and another who clearly is a little bit more jaded about the world, but still is on point with the mission. They're going down the list of places of people they're told to knock on doors and whose houses they do, and they knock on the door of this house that's all by itself, miles away from, this looks like it's set in the Pacific Northwest. They may actually say where it's set, but that's the vibe I was getting. And they knock on the door of Hugh Grant. I'm not ready to say elderly Hugh Grant, but he's much older than he was in the Four Weddings and a Funeral Time. They knock on the door of Hugh Grant, who's this nice British gentleman who welcomes them in and says, oh yeah, absolutely, I am interested in hearing about what you have to say, and I did ask for more information. And the ladies say, well, we can only come, we're not supposed to go inside. He's like, yeah, but it's raining. I'm not going to tell you the whole story. We're not supposed to come inside. And he's like, that's okay. We're not supposed to come inside unless there's another female present. He's like, that's perfect. My wife's baking a blueberry pie. So they go in, and this is all I'm going to say. Things do not go the way they expected. And it's a horror movie. Say that. I thought this was really good. Hugh Grant, I keep wanting to say Hugh Jackman. Hugh Grant is excellent in this film. I'm not going to say too much about his character or where it goes. He's just a person who's very interested in religion. He said his character has studied religion for a lot of his life, and he has come to certain conclusions, and he wants to talk to these young missionaries and ask them questions about their religion and maybe challenge them on their religion and have just a spirited theological discussion. And for the majority of its running time, this is giving something away. That's what this movie is. This movie is three people talking, and it's riveting. I'm watching this movie, I'm like, this could be a play. Was this based on a play? This could be a play. This could easily be a play. It's just one location, and it's just intense. Think Equus. This is just really intense. And eventually, we see a little bit more of the world than the one room that the majority of the film takes place in, and it goes down very dark corridors, and it has the guts to use the Hollies' The Air That I Breathe, which to me is forever owned lock and key by a film called Seeking a Friend for the End of the World. Seeking a Friend owns The Air That I Breathe, but let's just say Heretic has a very legitimate lease on it for the amount of time that it uses it in this movie. Incredibly creepy, very eggheady. This is a thinking person's horror film. Eventually, if you're not a thinking person, it gives you some stuff too. But for the most part, this is a film that's really, it gets your mind working. And what is really going on, and what is real and what is not, and what is a lie and what is the truth. And it gets really into discussion of religion a lot, and it's really good. What I will say is that for me, the film was walking on very, very stable legs until they go down a level, let's say, and then it kind of got a little shaky. I didn't think it was bad, but it wasn't as strong in that home stretch of the film for me personally. That home stretch of the film probably gives most horror fans what they're showing up for. But for me, if almost the entire film was that discussion in that one room, I might have liked it a little bit better. Having said that, I think Heretic is really good. The performances in this film, and it's really pretty much only three. Nothing against Topher Grace, but he's in it for like a minute of the film. It is really Sophie Thatcher, Chloe East, and Hugh Grant. Hugh Grant, if they gave Oscars or nominated people for horror movies, Hugh Grant in this film. So let me know what you think. I really enjoyed Heretic. I really do wonder, though, we saw this opening night on a Thursday, and it was pretty well attended. And I have to wonder if some of the people there it was very quiet. It was a great audience, too, because this is a very intense movie. It's not a lot of loud slam bang music, anything like that, other than the air that I breathe. And the audience was dead silent and really seemingly into it. They might have been asleep, they might have been bored, but they were seemingly into it. So I'm really curious what a mainstream audience, what the on-teens are going to think of this movie if they go, because it is true to the A24 credo that it is a very intelligent, thoughtful film. Sometimes they veer into the pretentious. I didn't feel like this movie did. I just feel like toward the end it got a little bit jumbled. But it was a movie that I kept thinking about after the fact. So in theaters now, Heretic.